Alright, what do we have this week? Xbox cancels game development, Sony figures out live services is failing, Nintendo store slop, all that and more on this week's Old Man Rages at News for the 18th of August 2025. Before we start, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, comment and subscribe. Let's go! We're kicking off this week with Xbox stopping the game development on Contraband, a game that Sweet Baby Inc. had involvement in. And if you ask me, I think it's for the better. We all know what happens when Sweet Baby Inc. gets involved in a game. Let's just say you'll only find one game that could be classed as successful that Sweet Baby Inc. had their clutches in. And that's mainly because the only thing they did is alter one character, not the whole game. But anyways, this news came from Jason Schreier on Blue Sky, saying the project is cancelled. And later on, Avalanche Studios posted a statement on their official website. The statement is as follows. Over the past several years, Avalanche Studios Group and Xbox Game Studio Publishing have collaborated on Contraband. Active development has now stopped while we evaluate the project's future. We're thankful for the excitement we've seen from the community since we announced it, and we'll give an update on what's next as soon as we can. Now, this to me screams like it's development hell, and IGN even wrote a piece on it back in 2022, and apparently there was a clash between management and employees over controversial hirings, which ain't helping the game's cause whatsoever. And with hindsight being 2020, it might have been foreshadowing of things to come for the game. Moving on, EA is refusing to remaster the original IP of Dragon Age after the flop of Veilguard. The Dragon Age veteran Mark Dara revealed that BioWare wanted to remaster the first 3 games for Dragon Age, but EA rejected the pitch several times. Fellow YouTuber Mr. Patty Plays interviewed Mark Dara, and during the interview, Matty Plays asked Dara what he thinks the series can do next, to which the former executive producer thinks remasters of the first 3 games is a good idea, and I would agree with him as long as Sweet Baby Inc. or any other consultative firm is not involved. I mean, I'm still kinda on the fence, especially with the quote-unquote reforged version of Warcraft 3 and other failed remasters out there. If BioWare manages to pull it off without ruining it, that would be amazing. I mean, ideally, BioWare should take notes from Age of Empires 2 and its remaster. But anyway, I digress. EA's reasons for not approving the remastered trilogy because it openly doesn't like remasters, and because Dragon Age would be quote-unquote unknowably hard to remaster. I mean, on one hand, I can already smell EA's fear across the continent. On another, I'm pretty sure the people who they will put in charge if they try remastering it will have no clue how to handle a remaster and will have Reforged 2.0 situation in any other failed remaster. Another one I can think of the top of my head would be a Space Marine remaster. Oh, brother. But anyways, additionally, EA made a statement on the secure boot issues for Battlefield 6. They first made it clear that secure boot is not intended to be a silver bullet and how it's supposed to help build their arsenal. They even provided numbers for Javelin as well. It apparently prevented 330k attempts to cheat or tamper with the anti-cheat controls. Players also reported 44k instances of potential cheaters during one day with another 60k when the numbers were shown. Make of that statement what you will, and remember, if you're put off by any form of software that has kernel level access that you don't trust fully, you can always remove it or not interact with it. Moving on, Sony admits live service shit is not entirely going smoothly. What did you expect, Sony? People start praising you and seeing you as their savior? Eating whatever live service slop you throw at them? Not only that, but even PC gamers saying you're taking a hit of the ye olde cope. In a Q&A session, Sony's CFO Lin Tao talked about the studio's mistakes like Marathon and the instant train wreck of Concord. Yes, they addressed Concord somewhat. Now, here's the kicker. I'm gonna be reading this word for word, and you tell me what you think in the comments. Somewhat negative news has been coming out, but if we look at the past 5 years, 5 years ago, live service games were almost non-existent for PlayStation Studios. We had Helldivers 2, MLB The Show, and Gran Turismo 7, and Bungie's Destiny 2. So we have these 4 live service contributing to sales and profits in stable manner. Now, my 2 cents on that statement from Lin Tao? What a way to say, look at our past glory we still rely on. And the best part is the mad lad that wrote this article is doing my job for me. He's roasting the ever-living shit out of the statements said by the CFO. I mean, look at this, the CFO admitted that there are issues with Sony and they will, quote, learn the lessons from mistakes, where live service content will be less waste and more smooth, and the writer wrote, and I quote, "Genius! If only someone had thought of that sooner." Holy shit, PC Gamer actually hired someone who actually likes games? What? Give that guy a raise, for crying out loud. Moving on, someone made a knockoff game of Palworld for the Switch 2 and called it Palland. Yes, amidst the whole lawsuit, Bogisoft published the game and called it Palland. Better on the nose there, don't you think? The user, Casey Mono on Reddit, pointed out that Kotaku is being Kotaku again, and instead of calling it a Palworld knockoff, it called it a Palworld slop. Talk about knowing where your priorities lie. But anyways, this isn't the first rodeo for the company, as they made Thief Life Simulator, which is a knockoff version of Thief Simulator. To top all of that off, someone from the r/Palworld subreddit did some data mining into the bootleg game and found out the game uses AI assets and calls itself Palworld internally. Yep, the Palworld ripoff isn't even trying to hide it. As of the recording, the game is still up on the Nintendo Store. Make of that what you will. And now, for the race of the brain-dead statements and delusions. Actress Tati Gabriella mocked gamers on an interview and claimed people who play the game will love it. Yep, the delusions are off the chart on this one. Mind you, that's the same woman that posted the fragile masculinity tea image. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I believe she did more bad PR for the game than any DI initiative that the game has. Especially with this interview. Now, looking at the end statement of this segment where she says, the same people that were hating are gonna play that game, and guess what? They're gonna love it, so they can be mad. Makes barely any sense. I mean, where do I start? First off, all the people who are hating the game are not gonna buy it, most likely. There's most likely gonna be 1% of people that are gonna buy it just out of spite so they can shit on it. But that's not gonna be anywhere near what he's expecting, I'm gonna guess. Second, how do you know they're gonna love it when you don't even know the target audience the game has? I mean, you literally decided to take pot shots at the target audience. You think they're gonna like ya? And lastly, if they do play it, what's with the so they can be mad part? It sounds like something that was just pulled out of nowhere in order to reinforce the air around you. Oh, brother, insanity is prevalent in this day and age. Now, the game might also be closer to release than originally said, since Naughty Dog is looking for both a gameplay capture artist and a UI technical designer, and I'm kinda surprised they didn't leave those roles to the janitors, because maybe then the mess they made will be cleaned up. Hell, I'll say it. Promote all the janitors into high positions. Maybe then we'll see another good game from Naughty Dog. But that's not the only brain dead thing going on this week. There'll be forced pronouns on kids in Story of Seasons. The localization team thought it would be smart to replace the choose sex option to enter your pronouns in the English release of the game. You can see Redditors not liking it one bit. Makes you think that people who cheer for AI to replace localizers might be onto something, you know? And on top of that, PC gamers claim that there is a new Earth-splitting ARPG out there. The writer goes as far as to say they are immediately drawn to Ama's breathtaking environment. So let's check it out. How it actually performs as well. Would you look at that? The game peaked at 558 players and can't break that peak. But it's Earth splitting, you know. I don't know, Chief. I mean, that crack looks like it was made by an ant. Honestly, this game, and just from looking at the trailer on Steam alone, looks bland as all hell. I mean, you can make more exciting things in Skyrim and mods for the same price. Hell, I'm pretty sure RPG Maker can top that one. And just to get my point across, the game was in development for 7 years. Now, this is not gaming news, but it's something I want to cover specifically because it involves the site we're all on, YouTube. They managed to roll out its AI verification, and I'm speculating here, but it seems to be a shit show. Specifically, my speculation is based on the official YouTube account tweeting, and I quote, "A lot going on at the moment," with users like Smiley Smilik saying, "Fix your flawed AI moderation and reinstate my wrongfully terminated channel. Thousands of creators have been hit by false positive bans and you're still ignoring the problem." Yeah, in case you didn't understand what a lot going on at the moment means, they made something outright broken, and I wouldn't put it past that the data they use to verify users gets leaked somewhere later down the road. That or gets left in a USB stick somewhere and some random dude finds it. But regardless, back to Smiley Smilik, since he's not the only one affected by this. As he mentioned in his post, thousands of creators have been hit by this. A quick look at r/YouTube, and you can see the user 20 up tilts showing that he got hit by it, even though he watches historical topics, documentaries, and news/politics. Yes, all adult-related topics apparently aren't enough to flag you as an adult, according to the AI. But it gets better. The user Suspicious Stock even talked about how this could be a bigger issue than we first realized. And if you told me this back in 2016, I would have assumed you were in need of some crazy pills. Now, in the reality that we live in, I can totally see it happening. Now, what I'm talking about here, he talks about how the first step is to normalize this AI-based verification, and once it's normalized, it can decide what they can restrict overnight. I wonder. This sounds suspiciously like something that's happening in a certain part of the world. Can't put my finger on it though. Regardless, There's even a change.org petition that Kurashida promoted to stop YouTube's AI from taking what you watch that got over 100,000 signatures. Now, ultimately, this never needed to happen. It was always parents' responsibility to monitor what's going on, not the government, and sure as shit, not corporations. Hell, I even mentioned last week when I talked about this that Google can add parental tools to help parents. I don't know, parents could actually look online how to moderate what their children can access. But no, let's waste billions of dollars into ones and zeros instead of letting developers have 2 cups of coffee in 48 hours to code something more useful. But let's be real. Put on your tinfoil hats, people, because I'm pretty sure that's one way for YouTube to get your data and sell it at the end of the day. Because why? A little bit of paper in your pocket, old money. Can we please now go back to a time where companies told the parents to parent their children after some random Karen decided to have a hissy fit at a company because her child stole her credit card and spent all her money on something stupid now? And speaking of bad ideas, Melinda Tankard stopped taking her meds and tweeted out something about Gamergate on steroids. Yes, I wish I was making the shit that I'm about to read up, but she again claims that there is abuse thrown her way, and the first thing I see is, well, you guessed it, Madame Savvy's extreme ratio of 19 times the likes of her post. And the tweet is basically her laughing at Tankard because she covered Savvy's face after Savvy disagreed with her. This somehow reminds me of an episode from Dragon Ball Z. You know, the one where Frieza threw the Destructo disc and it ended up returning to him? Yeah, that one. Going to the art, you can see the usernames in the supposed, and I'm going to use the term here, evidence, loosely being covered up. I mean, you can't even click on the image to go to the original source, and it didn't show likes, mind you. But yes, it was Madame Savvy's tweet that was shown as evidence. But hey, they didn't show the likes, mainly and most definitely because it has over 10k likes, effectively proving that a woman disagrees with another woman. Who would have thought? You can also see there is apparently more quote-unquote cyber abuse that they claim to have experienced. However, again, to no one's surprise, no links, no images, and a question of what's your source here. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, and I'll always condemn people who are hateful without a reason. However, I can't condemn what I can't see. And my train of thought here is, fix or didn't happen. They even tried to twist the narrative by showing 2 tweets that barely got any engagement. You can see the first tweet here getting around 329 views, and the second one 2.5k views, with both of them having less than 11 likes. You can see V also pointing out the obvious truth by saying, and I quote, "People are not upset because of video games. People are upset due to your grift. You are championing a noble cause while going after petty things such as t-shirts, bakeries, video games, in order to milk for donations. You're also crying about video games nobody played until made them famous." That's not all though, as Collective Shit Show has been sending out emails labeling anyone who dares to question them as enemies, while in the same breath asking for money. Yes, they label critics as their opponents, and while talking about their enemies, they were begging for spare change. Now, what kind of tactic does this remind me of? Maybe a few historians that somehow stumble upon this video can shed some light in the comment section. Another thing that I don't believe them in the slightest is that they claim to have been hit with is a daily barrage of vile abuse and harassment. And yet, in their previous statement, they only showed 3 emails that may not even be real in the first place. Considering it's not exactly hard to stand out fake emails in this day and age. I mean, it never was to begin with, but then again, you need people to think. But anyways, I digress. Not only did they provide just 3 emails, but as far as I'm aware, doxing is illegal in Australia. So if they can show us a police report, that would be nice. You know, instead of screaming online that you're doxed, it's far more effective to report this stuff to the police. Especially if your country has laws against doxing, you know. Since a police report kind of has a bit more weight than just 3 emails that may or may not have been faked. And not to be left out, PayPal is no longer available for Steam purchases. And Valve explained why. Over the past month, people couldn't use PayPal to pay for stuff on Steam, and Valve confirmed to Rock Paper Shotgun the withdrawal of support is similar to MasterCard. Additionally, in this case, one of PayPal's acquiring banks decided to stop processing any Steam transactions. The full statement from Steam is on the screen right now. You can pause if you want to read it, but basically, any currency other than Euro, Canadian dollar, Great British Pound, Japanese yen, Australian dollar, and US dollar are no longer usable to pay with on Steam, specifically through PayPal. Not to be left out of all of this, Riot Games is on the chopping block as well. It's accused of blocking MasterCard discourse in the VCT chat. Basically, Riot Games is being directly asked by MasterCard to monitor esports live streams for negative statements against the brand. Yes, credit card companies is censoring free speech. Who would have thought? According to an anonymous source active within Riot's wider esports and content ecosystem, and I would ask you to take this with a grain of salt, obviously, since it's an anonymous source. MasterCard kindly asked Riot to keep an eye out for comments related to live streams, channels, and events regarding, and I quote, negative sentiment around the payment processor. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens during one of the live streams. I mean, considering what PayPal and MasterCard did with Edge.io and Steam, I wouldn't be surprised really if they did do that. And ultimately, this might not just stop at live streams as well. It might start popping up in-game as well. Especially if MasterCard pushes hard enough for it. Now, the whole thing comes off very hypocritical because criticizing them is bad. However, they won't go after Roblox with their confirmed predator problems. More on that next week, as there have been some developments that I want to include in the story. If they actually wanted to do something good, they could have blocked Roblox and told them, fix your predator problem. But no, they didn't. You also can't say that the problem is a nothing burger because Schlepp has 6 confirmed predator catches that ended up in jail, with Roblox now banning the guy. And any mention of him as well. Oh, the irony. Instead of actually stepping up and doing what they claim they're doing. Since, you know, Roblox uses PayPal and MasterCard. Well, since, you know, Roblox uses payment processors. And if you're tied to child predators, I'm pretty sure that says screw you to your... You know what I'm talking about. Anyways, the payment processors and Roblox are either ignoring or indirectly protecting bad actors here. But anyways, that's all for this week. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.